this is something that my parents did for me that I guess is not always the case, but I always knew as a child I could do anything I put my mind to. I had parents who told me that, and such a gift that is. If you never hear that, know that you absolutely can do whatever you put your mind to. You're capable of doing anything. I think that we all have the ability to step into what we want. Aligning yourself mentally, writing down your goals a lot. Like I would make vision boards. I would be writing things down. I would be in my notes app. I would print things out, make collages and have conversations about them. I feel like I really tried to get that mindset to the forefront of my brain.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Focus on the Good. I'm your host Mackenna, and today I'm sitting down with Sara Lunn. She is an amazing florist here in town, an internationally published luxury floral designer specializing in weddings, social events, corporate events, and brand activations. She's extremely talented. I've been very fond of her work for a long, long time. And that's why I wanted to sit down with you today, because you have built such a beautiful luxury brand, and you're also such a wonderful and present mother and wife. And I love just like how much you show your family life, and just like you really prioritize making sure that your family life is like abundant and joyful. And you kind of just give this presence of like very warm, welcoming, loving. And I just really like your vibe. So I was like, I need to have her on the show. You're welcome.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. So I wanted to start off and talk about how you got into the industry. So what was like the starting point for you? How long ago did you get into it? And I think that you had mentioned that you were a graphic designer first, right? So talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay, so we are pretty much right now at like the 10-year anniversary of me getting into wedding floral, which is really cool, just floral in general. So back in 2012, I started my graphic design career. That's what I went to school for. And between the years of like 2013 to 2015, I got married. My friends got married. Everyone was getting married, and everyone's like, can you do my wedding stationery? And so I was like, yeah. So I used to be doing a lot of brand work, like brand identities, logos, things like that. And then I started getting into wedding stationery, and I was like, this is so pretty. This is so fun. Like how awesome to do something and celebrate with people. And so that was kind of my intro into like weddings, was just doing wedding stationery. And then one day it was like September 2015, a friend of mine, we were old roommates. She reached out to me and she was like, hey, can you do my wedding flowers? And I was like, why would you ask me that? That's
because you had like never done floral design. Okay.
Really, no. I mean, and she was like, well, you always had flowers in our apartment from like Trader Joe's. I mean, so does everybody. I think she really had a lot of faith in me. And she was like, you're just design minded. And I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, sure. Why not? And at that time, I was just a few months pregnant with my now 9-year-old, and I was still kind of in like the morning sickness phase. So I was like, all right, I'll do this. This is your wedding gift. And I went and got some flowers, brought them to my house, and just spent like basically 9 hours on my feet and had the best day ever. And I was like, wow, this is so fun. I mean, I was on like YouTube tutorials, like how to make a boutonniere, how to wrap a bouquet, how to do a spiral method. And I'm like just learning. And I realized that the whole day I was just having so much fun, and I didn't feel sick at all. I was kind of like,
oh, wow,
just enjoying making something with my hands. And in school with an art degree, we take lots of classes, sculpting, painting, drawing, and there's a lot of art with your hands. And so I think I was missing that. And it just activated something in my like soul, my brain, my body, that I was like, this is really awesome. This is really fun. And so fast forward to the wedding, and Susie and Will, which are amazing local photographers.
Yeah.
They actually photographed that wedding. And then they photographed another friend's wedding where I was just kind of helping put together like an arch. I mean, it was like me with a staple gun and like foraged eucalyptus. Okay. There was nothing crazy. And about January of 2016, met with them for coffee with my husband, Ben. And they handed me a little flash drive. And it was just all the photos from both of those weddings of work that I had done. And I remember Susie and Will, both just the sweetest, kindest people. I love them to death. Just being like, hey, like, this is something special. And like, you should use this and you could totally do this if you wanted to.
Oh.
And just having kind of someone who I really didn't know them super well at the time, just believe in me. And I was like, you know what? Okay, sure. And so after I had my eldest, you know, just sitting there a lot, nursing with a newborn, you know, there's not a ton you can do except you can hold your phone and you can drink your water and watch TV.
Yeah.
And so I started posting to Instagram. I started just connecting with other local photographers and people. And I started just trying to connect with especially elopement photographers, elopement planners, and vendors. And so one thing led to another, and I started doing elopements. And it was like I'd bring the baby and I'd give a bouquet and a boutonniere. And then that was something that was totally manageable as a new mom. And then it just kind of grew from there. So
yeah,
that's how I got my start in floral design. Yeah.
And then so how did you make the shift from, because it sounds like you took a lot of micro weddings and elopements.
Yes.
And that was like your target because you were a new mother and it was like what you could handle at the time. So how did you make the shift into what you do now, which is mostly like luxury, bigger events, and then working with these high-end brands? Yeah. What was the brand that you work with in the Caesars Forum shops?
Glossier.
Yeah, very cool.
Work with them.
That's awesome.
And I love Glossier. Like they have the best makeup and the best people. Like their staff is awesome.
That's cool.
We love going to their branch and they're so sweet because my husband will do the deliveries most weeks and sometimes he brings the kids and they're always like giving the girls little samples. Aww. Like it's the cutest thing ever. So the shift happened slowly. There was definitely a moment for me in probably 2020. I mean, I think that happened for everybody where COVID happened and we all were kind of forced to like sit with life and like, what do we want from life? Or, you know, simplifying things like that. And I remember my eldest was 4 at the time and I was just spending a lot of time with her. And I realized like, man, like these moments are so special. Like, this is crazy that we have to, like, we're being forced to stay home. But also, I refined my contract. Like, I met with a lawyer over Zoom to do that. I took a business class online that was talking about, I mean, so many things, but the main thing that I took away from it was your core motivator. It was Shanna Skidmore. She has this amazing course online. And I found out that time was like my core motivator. Just, I want to control my time. I want to spend it how I want. My time is money and my time with my family is like my highest priority. And so I remember sitting and like, I got pregnant with my now 4-year-old and I'm like, okay, realistically, like, what do I want life with my family, with my business to look like, you know, in the next 5 years? And I remember thinking, I love weddings. I think that they are so special, but they are so like intense and it takes a lot out of you. And because I love them so much, I don't want to burn out from them. So I need to limit the number of weddings that I take just because it's such an emotional job. Like, it's that person's or that couple's best day of their life. You know, it's the moms and the dads and the grandparents. Like, it's an investment that's huge for them. Right. So I was like, okay, I want to take what really speaks to me, what really makes me feel passionate. And it didn't even really start with a minimum budget or investment. It just started with I want to feel really connected to the project and the couple. And so I started saying no to more. Honestly, like it was kind of a big leap of faith because it wasn't like the weddings were like flowing and I had tons to choose from. It was honestly just a moment of like trying to be in alignment with what I wanted my future to look like. And it was kind of slow at first, but then I started seeing just my mental alignment and like, just even saying it out loud, talking to people I cared about and that loved me, and just saying like, here's what I want, here's what I envision. I started to see those things slowly unfold. And then, just taking less weddings kind of freed me up to say, okay, well, what else do I want? What else could I see myself doing? And I started doing some small like birthday parties and, retirement parties, bridal showers, things like that. And I had a couple brands reach out to me about doing an activation. I remember Googling what is a brand activation? Like, what does that mean?
I was going to ask you what that means.
Yeah, like, what is this? Like, and I was like, I can't believe these people are reaching out to me. But, I started putting that out on social media. Like, I want to work with brands and I want to work with people who are interested in something different, something fresh. And I started doing styled shoots that were just different than what I was seeing in the wedding industry, and really got into Ikebana floral design, which is a Japanese style of floral design where there's lots of like airiness and every stem has a lot of intentionality. And yeah, that shift was like 2020 to like 2022, I think. And when we had F1 come to Vegas for the first time, that was 2022 or 2023, I got some inquiries from Paramount, from T-Mobile, from Aston Martin. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, holy crap, this is what I've been wanting to do. And so I just started truly trying to like put my absolute best foot forward with everything I did. Like, if I had a wedding, if I had a social event, if I had a styled shoot, if I had a brand activation, I was doing the most. I wasn't showing up with just what they expected. I wanted to show up with above and beyond what they expected. I wanted to make sure that every photo I got back was going to be like amazing and contribute towards a portfolio that would bring more clients like that my way. So that's kind of how it all started and shaped up. And it's just been a journey since then.
Yeah. I love that you are mentioning no matter what the project was, you would show up with your best foot forward and try to be innovative and creative. So it's like, even if you were showing up to another micro wedding or an elopement or something that maybe wasn't in alignment with like what you were doing, you're still going to show up with your best foot forward, knowing that you have the potential to bring in the work that you actually want by showing up to this with the best work that you can possibly do. So what would you maybe say to the listener who might be wanting to break into a different niche in their industry, but they're feeling stuck or not good enough?
Oh my goodness. I would say, like, first of all, you absolutely are good enough. Like, everybody is good enough, and everybody has the potential to do exactly what they want and create the life that they want. And I think that there's something really amazing, and I'm so fortunate. I like recently found this out, that this is something that my parents did for me that I guess is not always the case, but I always knew as a child, like, I could do anything I put my mind to. Like, I had parents who told me that, and like, such a gift that is. And so if you never hear that, like, know that that's true. You absolutely can do whatever you put your mind to. You're capable of doing anything. And so all of those barriers are they're just not true. I think that we all have the ability to like step into what we want. Aligning yourself, like I said, mentally, writing down your goals a lot. Like, I would make vision boards. I would be writing things down. I would be in my notes app. I would print things out and make collages and things like that and have conversations about them. And I feel like I really tried to get that mindset to the like forefront of my brain. And so what I started doing, obviously everybody's different. Everyone has a different path. Like, my journey was kind of slow and steady. I didn't want to go into debt trying to like make something, like make my business into something that seemed super successful overnight.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. Like, I wanted it to be organic. I wanted it to grow at the pace that I could sustain it.
Yeah.
but yeah, if you are in a place where you're wanting to tap into a new niche, a new market, I would say just stay positive, surround yourself with people who are in that mindset and who believe in you. Continue to like educate yourself. Like what I did, I took a business class online. I really found someone who I felt like aligned with exactly what I was trying to move into. I unfollowed a lot of people on social media that were just negative and, not really in alignment with what I wanted to do. And I followed a lot more people that were. I kept things like with even certain friend groups, like there were certain things that I just didn't talk about with certain friend groups. And then with other friend groups that I knew were like empowering and going to champion like those ideas, I shared with them. And so it was kind of a holistic lifestyle switch. And I think a lot of us really experienced that in 2020.
Yeah.
Right. Like our lifestyles kind of like, we had like this, oh my gosh, what do I really want with life? So yeah.
Yeah.
Long story.
No.
Long.
Perfect. No, perfect. 2020, it was really challenging for a lot of people. And I always want to like acknowledge that and understand that, based on your circumstances or where you were at, it was very challenging. Personally, I thrived.
Yeah.
It was a huge awakening for me to take a step back and not have to work, the grind of a 9 to 5 or whatever. I had money rolling in from unemployment because we were all unemployed. And I was able to sit back and ask myself what I actually wanted. And I then, got my yoga teacher training done. And I went down the path of being a yoga teacher for a while, but that was the breadcrumb that actually led me to photography, which was crazy. So if it wasn't for that time for me to actually step back and be like, okay, I can't make the excuse of now I don't have time. Now I have the time. What am I going to do with it? And so it was so transformational for me. And I know it's been so transformational for so many people. And so, as much as there was a lot of hardships that came from that, I feel really grateful for that time as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And I totally agree. Thanks for bringing that up because it's true. Like that wasn't the case for everybody in 2020. And I was definitely so fortunate to have a partner that kept their job. You know what I mean? And I think that's such a good point to make. Totally. There was like definitely some privilege involved in like just being able to sit and like ask yourself what you want and have the time to kind of sit with that too.
For sure. And I also just want to acknowledge like both my partner and I at the time, we both were unemployed. So like we didn't necessarily have the privilege. We were barely making ends meet with unemployment, but it was about our shift of perspective of instead of saying like, oh my gosh, I'm not saving. I'm barely making my payments. I'm barely getting groceries on the table. Like we were surviving, but like when I say I'm thriving, I mean internally and emotionally and mentally, because I took the opportunity that was given to me and I chose to do something with it instead of just sitting back and being like, woe is me. I can't see my friends. I can't do this, whatever the circumstance may be. I chose to say, this is an opportunity for me and I'm going to maximize on it. So it was more of a mindset opportunity rather than like my physical circumstances were a little shaky.
Yeah, it was kind of crappy.
But this is a good opportunity to talk about when you first got in, because I didn't mention this and I wanted to ask you about it. So when you first got started in the hopes to find a mentor, you reached out to a local florist and received negativity and a lack of support. What are your thoughts around community over competition and how do you apply it to your business model?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who feel that honestly, like every industry that they're in, a lot of people feel, oh, this industry is cutthroat, competitive, whatever. And I do think that that can be true. I also think that there's definitely a perspective shift that you can have where you maybe could say, okay, maybe this industry can be that way, but I don't have to step into that.
Right.
And that took me a little while to learn. Because when I first started, I reached out to a local florist who at the time was like doing amazing. And I was like, I love their work. I think they're awesome. I freelanced for them for like 2 times maybe. And I just was very interested in like what, they had, what their journey was and things like that. And I think I was met with like a lot of competition mindset, which I was literally just a mom, like a new mom with a baby. And like at that time, like barely making ends meet and just trying, like, I think I was getting paid $10 an hour to freelance or something like that, which is incredibly low. But I was just there to like make connections, make community and learn. And I was met with like, kind of a stiff arm. And so I realized, okay, like after I wiped my tears, um, I realized that, okay, that doesn't have to be my journey. And I'm responsible for making my own community too, right? Like there's a little bit of my own responsibility in this. And so I used that time I was reaching out to people on Instagram, just kind of like actually connecting, like commenting on people's work, because that's what I could do realistically. And then whenever I had like a free day or a free couple hours, I would ask them if they wanted to go to lunch, ask them if they wanted to go to coffee. And I actually met like a great photographer, Kristen Kay. She's awesome. That's how we met. And we started doing elopements together a lot, and she's amazing. Like I still love her to death. And I realized, okay, like there's great people in my city that are doing like that are in the wedding industry. And so I invited like 8 ladies over that were all different creative people, not just in the wedding industry. And we just had brunch at my house, and it was awesome. And I was like, okay, like it's what you make of it. It really is. You know what I mean? And I started a like local meetup of florists probably like 6-7 years ago, and maybe 8 years ago. Geez. And we still meet up every few months to this day. Like we have Friendsgiving, we have a summer pool hangout, we have a Christmas party, and it's awesome. And there's like probably 30 or 40 of us in the group chat, and maybe like 20 of us that actually come and hang out regularly. And so I personally don't feel any competition. I feel so much community now, like within floristry in Las Vegas, which is awesome. And same thing, like just general in the wedding industry. Like I'm a big part of WIPA. I think that everything has the potential to be competitive or clicky, but it's what you make of it, right?
Right.
So finding the people that align with that and just like sticking in that lane.
Yeah. I mean, when I first got in the wedding industry too, I heard the same thing of like, it's super cutthroat. Like you got to watch your back and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminds me of this quote, by Wayne Dyer. Are you familiar with him?
Mm-mm.
And I've said this on the podcast before. But it's when you squeeze an orange juice, what comes out of it? Orange juice.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're met with high pressure in any industry or any environment that you work in, what's going to come out of you when it's squeezed?
Mm-hmm.
So who you are on the inside and who you show up as, like when you're under pressure, when it's cutthroat, or like you don't actually have to be that. You don't have to stoop to that level, or you don't have, like, that's not what's going to make it. Like if you're a genuine and kind person on the inside, you can choose to show up in that environment and still be that person.
Yeah.
And so I love that you said like it was more about just a perspective shift for you, like actually going out and creating your own community of people who are encouraging you to chase after your goals, or helping you get there, putting like an arm over your shoulder and saying like, I'm with you on this journey. Like those are things that you can go out and find. And I think sometimes, like you mentioned, in any industry, it can be a little competitive, but like you can choose to focus on the community aspect rather than the competition.
And honestly, like if somebody's mean, like let them be mean. If someone's competitive, let them be competitive. Like if someone actually like stabs you in the back, okay, just like move on, you know?
Yeah.
And that's easier said than done. Like obviously, like I will cry about it. If someone's mean to me, obviously I'm gonna cry about it. I'll be sad for a minute. But like, you know what? It's kind of one of those things where it's like you also have to remember, and I'm totally on this journey, like especially this year, like my worth is not tied to my business. Like Sara Lunn Floral Studio is not Sara Lunn. Like, yes, I am a big part of that, and I design and have an amazing team of freelancers, and I have an amazing support system, but like who I am as a person is not my business, and my value as a human is not the value of my business. My business could have an amazing year financially, or just like I could be doing amazing projects, but like that doesn't necessarily mean that like I'm in a healthy place, and vice versa. Like I could be in a really healthy place and my business could have like a low year. Those two things are not the same.
Yeah. For small business owners, it's so easy to find ourselves in that predicament where you're directly correlating like who you are as a person and what your worth is tied to your business, especially because like for you and I, our business names are literally our names.
Yeah.
So that sometimes gets like murky or like, I don't know where the line in the sand is drawn. And so you have to be really intentional about like creating those boundaries for yourself and making sure that you're like actually pouring into your own cup and doing things that like light you on fire rather than just always curating your whole day and timeline to be around like, okay, what does the business need? What does the business need? So yeah, that's sometimes
boundaries are challenging.
They are
for a perfectionist. Like, oh my God. Like, it's tough, but it's important. And it's at the end of the day, it's just like, I have to tell myself constantly, like, you are not your business and your value is about you. Like you have a family that loves you and you have a roof over your head and you have, you are smart, you are kind, you are a good friend, you are a good mom. Like those are the things that keep me like healthy and keep me going. It's not how many bookings did you get? Ugh, you lost out on that wedding. Like, oh my God, like this planner doesn't even reach out to you anymore. Or, like no one wants to pay your price. That's not attached to your value.
Yeah.
And I genuinely still like tell myself that often because that's hard to differentiate sometimes.
So you kind of elaborated on it a little bit, but like what's one boundary that you exercise in your life to protect your peace?
Oh my goodness. I wish I was better about boundaries, but
you're like, I'm still figuring this
figuring it out. I think that there's a couple things that I've tried to do. They're not perfect yet, but I do have somebody who runs my social media. I still like pop on because like I also love social media.
Yeah.
Like that's fun for me.
For sure.
Like I love watching funny stuff. Also like I love books. And so like book talk, like that's my jam. But kind of outsourcing that element of my business a bit really helped me because it's, when it's in your hands, it has to be perfect. And I was spending so much time trying to make something perfect. And then I would spend like an hour trying to make a reel and then like it wouldn't even do well.
I know.
And then I'd be like depressed for a day because I'm like, great, that was a waste of time. No one even cares. Yeah. And it's like just outsourcing that. That was another big, like at the time kind of like, okay, I'm trusting that this is something I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to align with what I want. Financially, this is hard to give like this amount of way annually towards marketing.
Yeah.
But like, this is important. And so now what's awesome is that when I go on vacation or like when I go to Disneyland with my kids or when my kids are off and I just need like, I don't have to like, I can tell my social media manager, hey, like I'm out this week. You got this.
Love that.
You know what I mean? And and she's so organized and keeps everything like, so there's no surprises. It's like, everything's planned out already. So that's one small thing. I would say like, I really try, I'm not the best at it, but I do really try to keep my phone just like away during family time. I'll take my watch off and put it on the charger. I'll take my phone and put it in my bedroom. I'll come out to the living room or the dinner table or hang out with the kids and just have some like unplugged time. And honestly, like even 30 minutes of that is like so crucial for the type of person that I am, that like when I work, like I'm on all the time. I'm checking my emails, I'm checking my phone, and like I'm always kind of like keeping up with things. And I don't have like set office hours. I have like, I do it when I can kind of hours.
Me too.
And I think that's just like family life too. It's like, I want to be able to go pick up my child or like go to something at school at 2:30. You know what I mean? So I might work at 8:30 p.m. when the kids go to bed.
Yeah. And that's part of like the niceness about being a business owner is the flexibility around your schedule. And as like being a mom, like things come up here and there. And it's like my son has karate at 4 and it's like, I don't want to say, oh, I work every day 10 to 4. Cause then it's like, well, then I can't, So, but then it creates like this, you're always on and it's very hard to turn it off. And I know I could definitely be better about leaving my phone away from me.
It's so hard.
It is so hard because I mean, one, I love social media. Like I love Instagram. And if it's because I'm a photographer, I love pictures. They're beautiful. I love to look at them. I'm inspired by them, but it will be, you know, we'll be sitting down at the dinner table and it's like, or even at a restaurant, we'll sit down and I immediately grab my phone. I check my email. I like refresh my email. It's nothing. And then I go to Instagram and it's like, I'm going to check a request and I say like, oh, please inquire in the link in the bio. And then all of a sudden I'm scrolling and he's like, well, what are you doing? My husband. And I'm like, I'm scrolling now, but I was working for like 5 seconds. And so he's like, what, this is not the opportunity. And he has to constantly remind me. And it's become so challenging for me because social media and having our phone on us at all times is so crucial about being a part of a business owner that the boundaries really get kind of lost.
Yeah. And I think if I'm being completely honest, like fully transparent, like fighting that voice that says like, your worth is tied to this. Like if you are not available all the time, like
you're going to miss opportunities.
You're going to miss this opportunity. Right. And it's like, that's just like not true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and I'm still learning this. So I'm not saying this as like someone who fully is like practicing this, but like part of aligning myself with what I want my future to look like and what I want my present to look like is saying, okay, like if time is my core motivator and I want to spend time the way I want, yet I'm like a slave to my business, whether it like through my time, you know, checking my notifications, checking my emails, whatever, then like I'm losing. Like that's not in alignment. So it's like, you know, there's obviously seasons where I have to just like, we just have to get shit done. Like we have to check our emails. We have to spend hours in the office. We have to edit. We have to be in the studio. We have meetings and whatever. Like that's just part of the job. But I think like, you know, okay, one more boundary is like my sleep. Like, girl, like I will choose to be home in bed every time
You're
over
just
like going out. Like
me too.
when my kids are in bed, like 8:30, my kids are in bed, like I'm in my pajamas. Or I might honestly be in my pajamas at like 4 p.m. Who knows?
Same.
Like if I have an event that I'm going to, or if I'm going out, like it's planned. There's not a lot of like, oh, let's just like randomly do this, especially at night. Heck no. Like I go to sleep and I want to make sure that like my body can function for like the workload that I have. You know, and even just this last 2 months, I mean, I had a lot going on, but one thing that I did was like, I went to bed. I went to bed like early on time. I tried not to scroll before bed. You know, just keeping even just that little boundary of like eating enough protein, like, or just eating an egg in the morning, right? Like going to sleep on time, drinking enough water, like those things even help a lot too.
Yeah. I'm actually really happy you said that because I sometimes feel like I struggle so much with boundaries and I really do work on it. Everything is a work in progress. Like just because I'm hosting this podcast does not mean I have everything figured out. I am really trying to figure it out and I do my best. But when you said sleep is a boundary, like that is actually one that I practice every single day. Like my sleep is non-negotiable for me. Like I say no 100% of the time if I'm like not feeling it. Like I have no problem with canceled plans. I love canceled plans. I love to be at home. Like I'm a homebody. I want to I like books too. So I'm taking a break from books right now because I get way too consumed in those fantasy novels. But we'll talk about that later. But I always prioritize my sleep. Like it is a necessity for me to one, be a good mom because my patience is really thin if I don't get a good night of sleep. But two, I can't like give my best to my clients if I'm not prioritizing that. So thanks for telling me that sleep is a boundary for you. Cause now I feel I'm actually really good at boundaries.
No, it's so important. Ever since I was a kid, like if I didn't sleep enough, I became like a gremlin. Like I lose all my patience. I get overstimulated way easy. And I already get overstimulated as is. Okay. Like noise in general and just having kids and like my freaking living room has tall ceilings. So like it's always echoey. But and like my kids are both super spunky. And so like they love to sing and dance and make noise. And I love that. So I'm like, that's amazing. But also like I will get overstimulated if I am sleep deprived at all.
Yeah.
So it's an important boundary that I'm grateful to have a partner who agrees with me that I need the sleep and
Yeah.
like knows that, okay, it's going to be helpful if I'm putting the kids to bed, like he's getting up with them, or like we're splitting the roles, you know, he's getting the kids breakfast made and getting them ready for school, and I'm moving slowly in the morning and I'm getting their hair done, and I'm, you know what I mean, like my load is a little bit less in the morning. So
Right.
um and yeah, honestly, like on that note, my husband, Ben, is the single reason that I feel like I can do what I do, just having such a supportive partner who is like able to handle, like, it's not about like splitting the load 50-50, but like when I have a big workload, he takes over the home load. You know, when he has a big workload, I take over the home load. And when we both have a big workload, we meet together and we're like, okay, we got this. We're still a team. It's still us against the world. Like we can do this. Everything might not get done right now, but we're going to do our best and we still love each other.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't think I could do this like
Yeah.
at this level.
100%. I mean, I resonate with that so much because without the lovely man behind the camera right there, I wouldn't be able to do anything that I've been able to do. And I mean, I've said it before, but he's like the visionary behind a lot of what I do. I mean, this podcast wouldn't be a thing. And having an associate team so I could go on maternity leave and still bring on income wouldn't have been a thing.
Yeah.
I very much so, it's not that I'm narrow-minded. I do a lot of work to try to open up my mind and expand and be creative in things, but he allows me to think in like a way bigger picture and encourages me to chase after things, and then helps me with like the back end work of that stuff. So like you said, like if you have like a heavy workload, then he takes over the home life. Like it's like the same dynamic between my husband and I. And it's been such a blessing in so many ways, because I've really been able to like go full force into everything that I'm doing, and I could not do it and still be a present mom without his help. So
absolutely.
What is that dynamic like between you and your husband? Cause your business is like, you know, very successful, and I know that you're very busy. So does he have like a normal 9 to 5, or do you kind of like, what does that role look like with you guys?
Yeah. So in 2021, our youngest was born in April. I had to think about it for a second. In April. And by the end of the year, Ben was kind of like, hey, I'm feeling like it's time for me to shift out of this career that I'm in. And just like, we had that conversation and I was like, okay, like, and I had already kind of started to try to align with sort of what I was envisioning, but I also wasn't really envisioning fully taking over like the load of breadwinner. But him coming to me and saying that and saying, hey, like, let's talk transition, was kind of one of those moments where I was like, okay, let's figure out, like, so we talked through it. I have my best friend. She helped me so much through like just the finances of it all, and saying, hey, like, this is how much you brought home this year. Your projected income next year could be this. You're also basically working part-time. If you were more full-time, like it could be this. And so we sat down, and so end of 2021, we made a plan for him to exit out of his job. So he made that transition in March of 2022. And he honestly needed like a sabbatical, you know, like he hadn't ever had one. It was just like it was time for like a shift and like slow down of pace. And so he took about a month um to just sort of like, we were just kind of home together with the baby, and we were um just kind of talking about what we wanted life to look like, and he was kind of trying to figure out what he wanted to do. And um in that time, he actually realized that he wanted to be a graphic designer, which is kind of funny because I used to be one. And he had already been doing like a lot of creative work, graphic design work, videography, all those things in his other jobs. So that was like the start of him kind of realizing he wanted to start his own business. So he has a graphic design business and he does a lot of like business branding and illustration and things like that. So he does that. But it's kind of like with our businesses, like, you know, you take the jobs you want and there's a lot of flexibility, which is great. So for 3.5 years, almost 4 years now, um, he's been like doing graphic design part-time. He's like full-time home dad, honestly. Like
Yeah.
he stayed home with the baby for a year before she went to preschool. And um like he wakes up early and takes care of like making the girls breakfast. He's an amazing cook. So like he makes dinner, he helps them pack lunch. Um and honestly, he's just like so good at being like a home maker.
Yeah.
Like I'm good at like decor and like let's make the space look good. And he's good about the actual important things like let's eat and have good food and like
Right.
take care of like, you know, he's always running them to their activities and he's like assistant coaching for T-ball and stuff
Aw.
like that. So our dynamic right now looks like that. And he's amazing though. Like I feel like I'm always being like, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And he's like, yeah, sure. Sounds good. Got it. You know, taking the trash out in the studio, bringing lunches, like, you know, Harvest broke her shoe, go bring shoes to the school. And he does deliveries for me. Like he does the Glossier delivery every week. And anytime there's anything that needs to be picked up, any errands, he's always doing that, ordering things for me. And I feel like, you know, God bless him because like he's like such a chill guy that he can, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm over here with like a bazillion lists and, you know, organizing tons of things. And he's like such a great support to me. I mean, he's my emotional support husband for real though.
Yeah.
You know, he's always like, have you eaten today? Like, would you like me to make you something? What do you want to eat? I'm ordering groceries this week. What do you think? What do you want to eat? Are you in a salad mood right now? Like, are you trying to get like fish this week? You know, I go through like all these moods. I feel like, I don't know if you're like this, but like, I'm like, ew, I don't want pasta this week. How could you ask that?
Yeah, right.
I'm like, we need salmon, obviously. No, but he's awesome. So that's our dynamic right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was a shift for when my business took off. It took off pretty much overnight. And it was really challenging because I was a stay-at-home mom at the time.
Mhm.
And he was the primary like homemaker. I'm not homemaker. I'm sorry. Breadwinner.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was either I was going to have to start saying no to all of these inquiries that were coming in, or he was going to have to make a shift.
Mhm.
And so it happened really, really fast for us.
Yeah.
And it took a while for us to kind of navigate it and figure it out, especially because it's against the traditional gender roles, right? Like women generally are staying home with the kids and doing all of those things. And then the men are out making the money. And so it was something like for us to navigate, but we figured it out pretty fast. And now it's just been really amazing because he's like, sure, he doesn't go to a normal 9 to 5, but like he's behind the scenes helping me do everything, and not just with the business, but at home. Like we are such an amazing team, and we have such a beautiful life, and it's been so cool to grow into this space together. So I just resonate with that.
That's
so much.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something to be so grateful for.
You're right.
Because it's just like when you're doing something new that you don't see or have like a great example for, and it's against like what's normal, people have a hard time understanding. It's hard to sometimes like fully commit, you know, and be like, okay, like, no, what we're doing is what works for us. And then like, once you get into that flow and you're like seeing how, no, like this is beautiful, what we're doing, what we're making, what we're giving our kids, and time we get to spend with each other. Yeah, it's different, but also like how awesome.
Right.
I mean, I think like it's like so gross, right? Like, oh my God, I love my husband so much. But like, I love my husband so much. I love hanging out with him. Like, he is like my bestie. And we don't really get like tired of being around each other. And I think we have, you know, great personalities for that. Like, you know, so that's not the case for everybody. I understand that. But I feel so thankful that I love hanging out with him and he loves hanging out with me, and that we get to build something beautiful together. Like you said, it's really something to be grateful for. And I love being reminded and reminding myself constantly.
Right. And what a blessing that you get to show your girls like what's possible, right? And that it doesn't have to be cookie cutter and based on social norms and what everybody else is telling you to do, that you can actually create a life full of passion and love and purpose and connection with your partner and with your family. And you get to do it all on your own terms.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
If you could go back and give your younger self a hug, like ages like 15 to like 22, and you could whisper something in their ear, what would you tell them?
Oh my goodness. Probably so many things. But I think what stands out at the top of my brain is just going back to this idea of self-worth and value of you are worthy of love, you are worthy of good things, and you're worthy and able to create the life that you want. Like no one can tell you what you can and cannot do. And like I mentioned before, I had amazing parents that told me I could do whatever I set my mind to. But sometimes like the reality of that is hard to believe until you start stepping into it, you know? So I feel like I would definitely give myself a hug and just say like, you got this, like you're doing great, and just keep moving forward. Don't worry so much about what is on the horizon. Like, especially at that age, gosh, I think I wanted to be a journalist at that age. And I was thinking about being in like newspaper or magazine, and then realized what I really liked was actually the graphic design part of it, not the journalism part.
Yeah.
But I would just tell myself that you're worthy of love, you're worthy of good things. And like the journey ahead of you is going to be really cool and beautiful. Like don't get hung up on the parts that feel hard. Just keep moving.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I have literally a million questions left to ask you, but we're going to wrap it up because we're getting past our hour. But I'm definitely going to ask you to come back because there's still so many things I want to dive into. You are seriously such an inspiration, Sara. I really enjoy you and everything that you put out into the world, not just like through your business, but just your energy. It's so giving and so loving. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And I can't wait to have you back on.
Yeah, I'll definitely be back.
Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us, guys. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and we'll see you next time.